Hi everybody, Renee here. Welcome to Love Yourself Naked. So I want to talk to you today about immunity and not only how to build up your immune system so you don't get sick, but what to do when you do get sick. So one of the biggest inspirations for this video is that I got sick, right? Your health coach. Certainly I am not your average bear when it comes to health, but I am also human. And I want to begin by sharing with all of you that often, and especially if you happen to be in a similar field, maybe you are a health practitioner or a coach, or maybe you are on this healthy journey along with me, we tend to have certain identities, certain roles that we live into and that we play into, so to speak, in our lives. And one that shows up to me, of course, to be super real and naked in these videos with you, is I want you to see there's an instinct within me to not even want to share with any of you, maybe hear my nasally nose right now, that I'm sick, right? There's an instinct within me that wants to hide. There's this identity that I need to be perfect, that I gotta, be the healthiest person, that I'm invincible, that I don't get sick, all of those things. And, knock on wood, but make sure I actually do that. I don't get sick too often, but I am human. And when I do get sick, there's some instincts that come in, healing instincts, intuitive instincts of like, okay, what is it that I need to be paying more attention to? What are some of the things that I missed? And there also is another instinct. That's a big word today. My boyfriend gave a talk at Google. Good for him, amazing. So when he came home, he got sick. And so my first thought was like, oh, Rob got me sick. And I wanted to share this with all of you because even though I say that, I also know that in the back of my mind, and it's a bunch of bullshit, okay? So I want you to see this, and this is important when we talk about the immune system. If my immune system was so strong and it was acting on like all 6 cylinders, so to speak, in the moment that I was exposed to the germs from Rob or from anywhere I was, that I wouldn't have gotten sick. And so I was exposed to germs. It was my immune system that wasn't up to par, and that's the reason that my body got sick. Sometimes when we get sick, we can call this a healing crisis. So what I want to do is I want to break down 3 components of your immune system and why we get sick. There's the mental, there's the physical, and there's the emotional aspects of our bodies breaking down, our immune system breaking down. We all have certain beliefs, limiting beliefs often. They stem from our subconscious mind. And for me, I'm going to use myself as an example because I recently got sick. So this is a little insight into what my brain's thinking here. The last few weeks prior to me noticing that I had a little sore throat and my nose started to run and all of those things, I have been going through major mental shifts. I've been looking a lot at the habits that I have, about my ability to overcome certain limits and beliefs around my personal life, around my business, and I became really, let me just put it this way, it became so abundantly clear that I was ready for change, that I didn't want to continue the way I was thinking, the way I was showing up and being and doing in certain areas of my life. And it was very positive, but it was also I would say tumultuous at times. There was stress because I was like really taking a hard look at my life and deciding if I want to grow, if I want to live into this next version of myself in my business and in my personal life and in my relationships, then something's got to give. Something has to change. And so as we go through these mental shifts, these new habits we're creating, big change, whatever it is, that puts a certain element of stress on our body. You may have heard from other people before that when you get sick, it's a healing crisis. And this is where I relate these 2 ideas together. Is that as the brain is super powerful. We have the triune brain up here. And as it's starting to make shifts, it's also releasing that which does not serve. And sometimes when we are doing that process of, we'll call it personal growth or making change, it can lower our immune system because it causes stress in the body. Another aspect of this is emotional stress, and I certainly have had some emotional stress in the last month or two. And so I look at that and I think, okay, how is my meditation practice? How am I at really allowing myself to feel what I'm feeling? And I'm using me as an example, but I can even look at any one of my clients when I work with them and they might get sick or they might get a cold. Usually there's some type of emotional and mental something that's pretty big that's happening in their life at that certain point time when they found they were getting sick, or maybe right beforehand. Now, then we have the physical aspect of our body. We have our gut health, which is really where our immune system lives. And I put my hands on my belly because, our gut health needs to be nurtured and it needs to be supported in order for us to keep this immune system strong. And if I really am honest, I have been the biggest slacker on eating fermented foods in the last month and a half. And it's usually a big staple for me. Raw sauerkraut, kombucha, probiotics, I'll give you some more examples. Total slacker. And lo and behold, body responds, sickness. And I'd like to think that, it's not necessarily something that is a need, like we have to have these fermented foods or these certain probiotics in our body or we'll get sick, but it's a process. And what, that saying, when it rains, it pours. Well, if you look at, there's stress coming in here, there's change coming in here, food choices haven't been the most amazing in the last couple months for me. I did some extra partying, I had some bachelorette parties and some family gatherings, and there was extra sweets and cookies and treats, and I didn't totally overindulge, but for me, I ate a lot more than I'm used to. And sweets, sugar particularly, greatly suppresses the immune system. It actually limits our good bacteria inside our gut, which actually keeps us healthy. We need a lot of good bacteria in there. And the more sugar, the more alcohol we have, the more it suppresses it. So I wanted to give you some of these tools so that way you can begin to see not only, oh shoot, I'm sick, right? Like then all of a sudden we feel like we need to go out to the store and we need to get, some cold medicine or maybe run to the doctor and be put on an antibiotic. And I want to tell you, you don't have to do that necessarily. Now, within reason, obviously you got to trust your body and trust your instinct. There is a time and a place for certain things and medical intervention, but the average cold that we get can really be helped by simply allowing our body to do its job, to heal itself. And so let's just come back to review, and then I'm going to give you a couple tips to wrap up. So number one is knowing, am I going through a mental change, and just really checking in. And if you are, then really allow yourself to make sure you're making that shift. If you're stuck in a certain area of your life, if you've been wanting to make change or new habits and you haven't been doing it, likely your immune system is going to be suppressed. So it's time for you to step up to the plate and make sure things happen. Emotionally, have you been going through stress, and how are you allowing yourself to deal with that? Do you have a meditation practice? Do you have a morning practice? Do you have somebody to talk to? Maybe it's a coach. I happen to be a coach. Could you contact me? Absolutely. ReneeHeigl.com. You get the idea. Find outlets for yourself to really help your emotions be felt and experienced. Third is, of course, your physical body. So moving your body, there's one particular tip. Your lymphatic system, huge aspect of our body's health, and we need to keep it moving in order for that lymphatic system to drain properly. And if we don't allow it to drain, then it gets clogged and, more likely to get sick. Are we supporting our gut health? And so things like fermented foods, I mentioned kombucha, sauerkraut, probiotics, any type of kimchi, certain types of yogurt are often recommended, but I don't recommend that if you're sick because we don't need dairy when we're sick. In fact, dairy and sugar are one of the biggest things that will make us create more phlegm and mucus. So stay away from dairy and sugar when you are sick. And then also just knowing that greens and raw vegetables or green juice and those types of things can be really supportive because we do need those for our bellies, but we also need warm things like warm water and lemon. ginger and lemon tea, wonderful when you're sick. I love, I'm just rattling off a bunch of stuff, different types of turmeric tea, or my favorite, which there's a recipe I'll put down below for you, happens to be chaga mushroom tea. Love that for the immune system. And then there's also different oils and things. So coconut oil and doing oil pulling, which, you know, many of you, if following me in my tribe, you might have seen a video on that. And then there's also ear oils, which the first thing I did when I figured out I was sick is I put ear oils in, and this is a particular practice that I teach in Love Your Life Academy. So really, really simple, but also really great for keeping our immune system strong. And then there's other practices like massage and just baths and Epsom salt and essential oils and different things, and not necessarily having to do one or all of these things to help you out, but knowing that your body needs extra vitamin D and vitamin C and zinc. Those are particular good ones when you are sick or just to build up your immune system. If you can come at it from all sources, then great, but relaxing, breathing in oxygen gives our body the best fuel possible. Send me some notes, write some comments. I love hearing from you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.